Hey guys, this is test 54 game 2. This is the music CDs rating game. It is an ordering game because we're basically taking the CDs, HINQRS, and placing them in order from 1 to 4 in terms of how many stars they get. Now they tell us that each rating has either 1 or 2 CDs that get it, so I've laid out 2 rows of 4 spaces each. 1 through 4 is the ratings, and then up down is simply whether we have 1 CD getting that rating or 2 CDs getting that rating. Because there are only 6 CDs and 8 spaces that result, I've put down 2 X's here as placeholders for when we do not have a CD in that spot. Now, they tell us that H gets exactly 1 more star than N does, so I put down NH horizontally consecutive in that order, so as such H cannot be 1 and N cannot be 4. They tell us that either H or R gets the same number of stars that I gets, so I put down H/R with I vertically. Obviously top bottom in this game is irrelevant. And finally, at most 1 CD gets more than Q gets, so Q is earlier than either no things, 0 things, or Q is earlier than only 1 thing. So I've placed that Q cannot be on either 1 or 2, because if Q was on 1 or 2, we'd have too many things that had to come after it, violating this rule. So this right here is a pretty bare bones initial setup for the game. You could make multiple main diagrams based upon the placement of NH on 1, 2, 2, 3, or 3, 4, but I find that that doesn't affect enough other things because N and H are not directly related to enough other variables or rules in this game. So we'll move on to the questions. Number 6 is a typical orientation question. We're just taking one rule at a time and applying that rule to all 5 choices, looking for violations. So one thing we know is that we have to have NH occur consecutively in that order. So scanning through the choices here, let's look for violations. We see choice D has N on 1 and has D on 4. Has H on 4. They're too far apart, so D can be eliminated. The other choices appear to be good on this issue. Next, we have the rule that I is always with either H or R. Scanning for violations of that, we see choice C, I is with S, unacceptable, so that can be eliminated. The others are all good on that issue. We know that Q is before either no things or Q is only on 1 thing. So Q has to be on either 3 or 4, we know this for certain. Scanning through the choices, we see in choice E, Q is on 3, yet we still have 2 things after it, H and I. That's unacceptable, so E can be eliminated. Looking at A and B, again, B violates this with Q on 2. Again, too many things coming after it, so B is gone, leaving A for number 6. Next, number 7, if H was the only CD receiving 2 stars. So I'm putting H on 2, with one of the X's because it's with nothing else there. We know we've got to have the NH in that order, so N's on 1, and we know that we will have to have RI occur because H is certainly not with I here. RI could not be on 4 because if RI were on 4, we wouldn't be able to have Q after it. So for that reason, RI will have to go on 3 here, and then we'll have Q going on 4. I put that I can't be on 4 because if I was on 4, it'd be with either H or R, and then Q would not be able to have only 0 or 1 things after it. It would have more than that. So I put RI on 3 here. They're asking us what must be true. I gets 3 stars. Yes, it does. So for that reason, A is our answer to 7. Next, number 8. If R receives the same rating as S. So if RS occurred vertically like this, we would have NH occurring, could be coming after it like that, could be coming before it like this. We don't really know exactly how that's going to play out here. It's pretty open-ended. What we can say is that neither of these could occur on 2, 3, 4. We don't think, because then we wouldn't be able to have Q coming afterwards, because we would have too many things coming, coming after Q. So I'm going to just put these 2 things down and see what happens as a result. I'm going to make 2 different diagrams representing those possibilities. We could have R and H on 1, 2, 3, with S going on 1. Or we could have NHR on 1, 2, 3, with S coming on 3, of course. Since RI is not occurring, HI will, so HI is on 3 here, HI is on 2 there. And those are the 2 possibilities. Again, if you were to put R and H on 2, 3, 4, you'd have I on 4, unacceptable. And if you put NHR on 2, 3, 4, you'd have Q coming on 2, maybe, too many things after it. So these are the 2 different possibilities. They're asking us what must be true. Must H be on 2? No, H could be on 3, works perfectly fine. So A is gone. And by the way, I should just put down Q on each of these just to show you what's happening there. Q has to go on 4 in both of these. Looking at B, I on 3 happens in the top diagram but not the bottom one, so B's gone. Looking at C, N on 2 happens on top, not on bottom, so for that reason C is gone. Q on 4 happens in both for certain, so D's our answer. I will look at E though. S on 1 occurs on the top diagram, not on the bottom, so E is gone, leaving D for 8. Next, number 9. If N and R each received a rating of 1 star. So we're having NR on 1. Of course, N on 1 requires H on 2. And since RI is not going to occur, HI will have to. And they're asking us what could be true. So the rest is, of course, pretty open-ended. We've only got S and Q remaining, as well as the 2 placeholder X's. We don't know where those guys are going. They're asking us what could be true. H on 3, no H is on 2, so A is gone. H on 4, no, again, H is on 2, so A is gone, so B is gone. I on 3, no I is on 2. S on 2, no 2 is full with H and I, leaving E. And of course, S on 3 is possible, so E. Next, number 10. General cannot be true question. So if you look through the choices, of course, the choices here are all pretty similar. You know, Q being the only thing on 3 works perfectly fine because we could have Q on 3 and then X and maybe S coming on 4. Works out perfectly fine, so A is gone. Q being the only thing on 4. Just in our previous diagram alone, we saw that that was certainly possible. We had SQXX. We could have had S on 3, Q on 4 with X, so B is gone. Looking at C, R on 1. We could have R on 1, then N on 2, H on 3, I on 3, then S and Q on 4. Works out perfectly fine, so C is gone. Looking at D, R being the only thing on 2. We run into a problem there. If R were the only thing on 2, meaning X is with it, of course, we'd have to have NH on 3 and 4, and then I would be there, but I can't be on 4 because now, wherever Q is, whether it's on 1 and 3, it's certainly going to have too many things coming after it. Even if Q were on 3, you'd have to have both H and I on 4, violating this rule. Therefore, D is impossible and is our answer. And then if you look at E, I mean, R being the only thing with 3 stars, that works out perfectly fine. I'll show you what I mean. If R were the only thing with 3, we put RX right there. We have NH on 1, 2. Of course, H is with I now. We have Q on 4. And then we have S and X interchangeable on 1 and 4. Works out fine, so E's gone, leaving D. Next, number 11. If R was the only CD that received a rating of 1 star. So if R was with X and nothing else, we'd have to have NH on 2, 3, because if H were on 4, it would be with I, and that can't happen because of the Q rule. So H and I are going to be together on 3. We're going to have Q on 4, and then we're going to have, X and S interchangeable on 4 and on 2. So they're asking us what could be true. H on 4, no H is on 3, so A is gone. I on 2, no I is on 3. N on 3, no N's on 2. Q on 3, no Q's on 4, leaving E. And if you look at E, S on 2, yeah, S could be on 2 or 4, either way it works. Next, number 12, what can't ever get a rating of 4 stars? Of course, that is I. We can't have I on 4 because I is always with H or R. And whether I was with H or R, either way, we're now going to have Q coming earlier, maybe on 3, in which case we'd have 2 things after, not 0 or 1. So I on 4 is impossible, choice B.